What's up, everybody? Tim Anderson here, aka Renfill, the Bearded Dwarven Princess, back with more Middle-earth news for all of you Tolkien fans out there. And today, I'm happy to say that the Middle-earth Enterprises sale has finally been completed. Saul Zaentz Company officially started selling off the entire IP a few months ago. If you remember, I did a video on that. That'll be up here somewhere. And we finally got the announcement today that that sale has been finalized, and the Embracer Group, which is a Swedish video game and media company, has purchased the entirety of its IP to the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbits in the franchise. Now, there is a press release here, which I'm going to link to if you want to read the salt and pepper version, which can be a little dry. I'm going to be reading from the OneRing.net version because it's pretty good, and I like what they do most of the time. So we're going to go ahead and read through this now. Before we dive in too much, I know what a lot of you are thinking. A lot of you are thinking that, oh my God, this is going to create more Rings of Power scenarios, and people should just leave Tolkien alone. It's a work that shouldn't be exploited. Too much of a good thing is a bad thing. Don't do this. You've already ruined Star Wars. You've already ruined Star Trek, blah, 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 blah. Well, I disagree with you, ladies and gentlemen. If you've been around long enough, have always been in favor of more. I like more Star Wars, I like more Star Trek, and I'm a big fan of more Middle Earth. Now, that's not to say I want bad versions of things, but the issue with opening up an intellectual property like this is that you're going to get good content with bad content. Peter Jackson stuff, pretty much beloved around the world. Games like the Shadows of War, Shadows of Mordor series, beloved franchises on the console. Lord of the Rings Online, a beloved MMORPG. We've had a lot of good things come out around Middle Earth over the years, and Middle Earth Enterprises has been behind all of that via the Saul Zaentz Company. Now, we've also gotten what appears to be a train wreck in the Rings of Power. We don't know yet because we haven't seen it, but everything we've seen on the internet leading up to it has been them making up and inventing characters and so on and so forth. And I know the part of this press release that's going to make people panic. It's the part here, well, where the Embracer Group suggests that it's going to explore additional movies based on iconic characters such as Gandalf, Aragorn, Gollum, Galadriel, Eowyn, and other characters from Tolkien's literary works. That's immediately going to throw up red flags for some people because they're going to say, oh my God, they're going to exploit these characters and they're going to create woke versions of all of these characters. You don't know that. It's going to depend largely on who is the company and showrunner behind the development teams and the publishers of these media projects. Embracer Group is not just known for being a media company. They are a video game company first and foremost. They just purchased this entire back catalog. By the way, we assume it's about $2 billion was the purchase price, but we don't know for sure because they chose to keep that knowledge private. But the thing is, like one of the things that I remember being talked about early on in terms of what was the next show being developed, it was going to be a show about young Aragorn. I would watch the shit out of a show about young Aragorn if it was done right. There is so much great material there about Aragorn when he's a young man growing up, who he is, chasing orcs, hunting by Aladdin and I forget the other I forget the name of Elrond's other son. But he's off doing these adventures. He's spending the time in the forest with Galadriel, and he's falling in love with Arwen, and just becoming the man that he is when we finally meet him in The Lord of the Rings, the leader of the Dunedain. So there's so much there that's documented that they could go in and mine for an amazing, in my mind, 3 to 5 season run for a young Aragorn short show that could be so good. I loved the Young Hercules show back in the day with Ryan Gosling, even though I know a lot of people it's like cheesy, but yeah, Hercules was meant to be cheesy. So was Xena the Warrior Princess, and Young Hercules was kind of cheesy, but it was fun cheesy. So I could see these shows being a lot of fun and done right if it's in the right hands. Of course, it could go to the wrong hands, and that's the risk you take when you have an intellectual property that goes up for sale like this, and it's going to get farmed out. But I am always going to be favor for more because more means more people who fall in love with Tolkien and more people who can enjoy the world of Middle Earth, even though, of course, we might get a little, some trash along the way. But it's kind of like I look at the Star Wars films. There's no such thing as a bad Star Wars film. There are Star Wars films that are infinitely better than other Star Wars films, but there's really no such thing as a bad Star Wars film if you view it in a certain light, and as Ben Kenobi would say, from a certain point of view. So that's what you need to have here is a certain point of view. What's most important here is that the Saul Zaentz Company previously held this massive catalog of rights, worldwide rights to not just motion pictures, but also video games, board games, merchandising, theme parks, and stage productions. And in this um, space, they're doing big things, and the Embracer Group is already poised to do great things with existing works already happening. Now, before we dive further into the rest of this press release, this is the part of the video where I have to do my call to action because I am a full-time content creator, and this is how I make my money. When did you come in here, Lucas? Everything okay? You're grumpy? You just want to take a nap? Anyway, if you like this video, like, subscribe, hit the bell icons to get more updates like this. Don't forget, I do Mondays in Middle-earth every Monday at 11 a.m. Central. I'm reading through the Lord of the Rings books, Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and the Silmarillion, up to and through the Rings of Power, so we continue to analyze that show and poke holes in things that we find that don't work properly, that don't respect the original lore. But if you like that, don't forget to check out the Rings of Power videos as well. And don't forget, if you want to support me as a content creator, which hopefully you do, there's a super thanks button down there that you can click and you can donate $2, $5, $10, whatever you want towards this channel and keeping the lights on and the internet on and the cat fed and me producing more content like this. I live stream every single day. And if you want to join us there, you can just tune in anytime you see a live stream every morning, every evening. You can do super chats and stickers on live streams to support the channel, or you can join as a member of the Adventurers Guild down there for $2.99 a month. A lot of cool perks that go along with it. And of course, I am a game dev and an author myself, working alongside my brother and my wife in the world of the Weave and the Void. You can find more information about that. It's a 5th edition tabletop setting, a point and click adventure game, and a book series all over at patreon.com/wandering hermits. Let's get back to this article in question. Now, it's interesting to note that one of their subsidiaries, Asmodee Group, is already a very successful licensee of the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit through board games and card games, and has published over a dozen games, more than 100 expansions since the release of the Lord of the Rings over 20 years ago. The board game, Key upcoming works set in Middle-earth, in which Middle-earth Enterprises has financial interests, included The Lord of the Rings: Rings of Power, the animated film The Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim, and the mobile game The Lord of the Rings: Heroes of Middle-earth. And there's also the potential for new films based on iconic characters, as we've already heard about them. It says here that Middle-earth Enterprises will be part of the newly funded operative group Embracer Free Mode. This group will continue to operate independently under the existing Middle-earth Enterprises leadership team, working closely with Embracer Free Mode management and other Embracer operative groups to foster opportunities, growth, and synergies within the group to continue to build and expand upon this franchise. They agreed not to disclose the purchase price, but they reported earlier this year the value of the IP around $2 billion. Now, Embracer Group is known mostly for its video game stuff, but they do own 125 companies, including nearly all of which are video game developers or publishers. That's worth noting. But recently, they have been expanding, including Dark Horse Comics and franchise purchases such as Borderlands, Duke Nukem, and Hellboy. This is one of their first and largest pure IP acquisitions. So the Embracer Group, these people are knocking it out of the park, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I've watched them pick up some of my favorite video game franchises over the years, and they're doing great things with those groups and leaving things largely alone and just choosing to pour more money into those franchises and let people do what they're already doing. So this is really, really, really good news across the board from me. Now, again, some people are going to look at this and they're going to see a negative take on this, and they're going to say, no, you're going to water down and taint the Lord of the Rings. You're not respecting Tolkien or Middle Earth. And I would say to those people, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can't know if something is going to be a good adaptation or not until you've actually seen it. Now, I know some people will say, but Tim, you're constantly ranting at and calling out Rings of Power. Yes, I am, but you'll notice that my rant videos are mostly discussion videos, and I'm never really ranting. And every single time I always say that I'm reserving final judgment for when I actually watch the episodes. And until that time, all I can do is speculate like everyone else. And what I can speculate about this purchase of Middle Earth Enterprises is that we can be guaranteed that we're going to be seeing lots and lots and lots of Middle Earth based video games, movies, TV shows, board games, and beyond for many more years to come. Well, until I'm into my old years and can be a pensioner just enjoying Middle Earth video games and watching cool Middle Earth shows. I am all for that, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know your thoughts below. Like, follow, subscribe. See you next time.